Brew Strong is brought to you by Blickman Engineering, home of the top-tier brewing stand. Visit them online at blickmanengineering.com.
It's time for the beer radio you've been looking for. This is the show that dispels myths, tackles the toughest topics, and makes no apologies for geeking out on beer. Hosted by two guys that drink before they think. Jamil and John Palmer. This is Brew Strong.
Hey, howdy, hey, my brewing brothers and sisters.
Greetings, cretins.
How
are y'all doing today?
Cretons.
Yeah.
Yes. How are we doing today, Mr.
Well, I think we've been on topic pretty well.
Yeah? We're having a good time?
I'm having a good time.
You ain't having a good time?
Oh, I am. Very much so.
You is.
Yes.
You is. That's for sure. I'm having a good time, too. I enjoy doing the show. Somebody was asking me, where was I? They were like, we were talking about how long I've been doing shows for the Brewing Network. And I'm like, yeah, it's like 8 years. Like, 8 years? I'm like, yeah. And
for a limited time only, JAMIO.
For most of them, I've been doing a show a week.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap, you do this every week? Yeah, I'm like, well, you know, we'll do several shows in a row, and so that's the only way I could do it, just because the drive time would kill me. But they're like, you really must like doing it. I'm like, yep. I said, if I didn't like it, there's no way I could do this. And you would have to pay me a lot to do this if I didn't like it. You know, there would just be no way of doing it. So, yeah, I enjoy it. I have fun.
So do I.
It's like hanging around bullshitting with your friends, you know.
Mm-hmm. Which is exactly what
it is.
Really.
Yeah. They go, it sounds like you're just having fun chatting with your friends. Yep. Yeah, that's the formula for the show right there. You got me. Yeah. That little drinking works out perfect.
Yep.
Yes. So what we're doing today is, speaking of hanging out and drinking with your friends, what about Blickman? Huh?
Hey, our good buddy John.
Yeah. One of my fondest memories was the time when there was the giveaway for the winner. If you bought a top-tier system that year, they did a drawing from all of them, and then we went out to the winner's home, which turned out to be in Tahoe, and brewed with them. It was absolutely one of my favorite favorite times. Yeah, because we went up the night before and we hung out, had dinner, had some beers, romantic stroll along the beach, holding hands, cupping and having a good time. Let me put it that way. And then farting endlessly in the hotel room. And John knows I'm telling the truth. And then, what else did we do? And then the sausages. It was a regular sausage fest.
Yeah.
The guy brought out a little grill that fit on the Blickman top tier and grilled up some sausages. And, it was totally cool. Had a really good time. I love that. Yeah. And big reason why was John Blickman, and all his creativity and humor. Really made a lot of fun. So
he's a brewer just like the rest of us.
Yes, just like the rest of us. He's an ordinary man, puts his pants on one leg at a time. But a very clever one, and makes a lot of great products that are a lot of fun to use on your brew day and make your brew day better. So check them out, BlickmanEngineering.com. They're paying for the show, so you don't have to. So you can spend a few minutes just browsing the site and checking out all the goodies that they have and kind of drooling over all that great stuff. So when your significant other asks you, what do you want for Christmas? You can say, well, dear, I want Tower Power. I want a hop rocket. I want a beer gun, or so many great things he's invented.
Yep.
So go check it out. BlickmanEngineering.com. Well, and speaking about all sorts of fun things, I think we're going to do a live Q&A show that is all about metals. Because you weren't here for 2 weeks.
That's right.
We did a water show. Now we're going to do one on metals. So you can answer all the questions, and I can sit here and get drunk.
Sounds like a plan.
It sounds like every other show we do. Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So I thought metal would be a good topic for you, since metals are your thing.
They are. Yeah. I'm one of those guys that looks at a piece of stainless steel equipment and wonder what it feels
chubby.
like. I mean, just wants to go over and touch it.
Starts getting erect, or it's rubbing up against it, and then people like spray you with the hose and like, get away from my car. All right. Dan writes, John, big fan of the book and big fan of Brew Strong. As a metallurgist, I thought this question would be right up your alley. I'm submitting it to Brew Strong as well. I have a copier chiller that is a little big for my kegel and has become quite ugly looking from forcing it in and out of the opening.
We know what you mean.
Yeah. I'm always forcing it in and out of the opening. I'd like to reform it, but it seems to have undergone significant work hardening. Yeah, it gets hard, and then when you're forcing it in and out, it gets all ugly looking. Can I just throw it in my oven at 250 for an hour, let it cool, then rebend? They are listing typical annealing temperatures of alloy 122 at 700 to 1200 Fahrenheit. This would probably not be worth the energy. Thanks for all the good info. I owe most of my brewing knowledge to you.
Well, thank you. You're very kind.
He's also a liar.
Unfortunately,
okay. Throwing
it in the oven for an hour at even 350 won't work, because I've tried it. Interesting email. I mean, I come from a heat treating background, among other things, and I thought, well, I wonder if it will recrystallize and soften up significantly at oven temperatures. Turns out at 350 for an hour, it doesn't. The copper, I had a piece of 3/8 copper tubing in the garage that I was able to work harden and bend into a loose coil, and then put it in the oven for an hour at 350 and took it out and tried to unbend it or bend it further, and it was still as stiff as it was before. Now, maybe that's just me, but apparently those temperatures aren't enough. You'll need to go up to more like 700 to get some significant softening of the copper, which I don't know of really useful way to do it. Alternatively, I mean, at home you can't turn your home oven up to 700. 500 is about as high as any of them will go. Alternatively, you can take a propane torch and play that over areas that you want to rebend or reform. And those will get, those get up to, 900, 1,000 degrees, and you can get the metal hot enough to solder and so on, and that will anneal it. So you can spot anneal it that way with the propane torch. Just be careful to let it cool first before you try to reform it.
Well, and take off any if you have hosing tubing going to it or other bits and pieces or any Tef tape or anything like that. Just go ahead and take all that stuff off, and then heat up with a torch. Just get that nice and red, and you should be good to go.
Yep.
I would think, and you could just start on one end and just chase that cherry red down to the other end of the tubing, and
actually it won't get red. If it got red, it would probably tend to melt. In the case of copper, it will turn a little bit silvery, though. You'll see a silvery sheen appear on the surface of the copper, and that's hot enough.
All right. Well, there you go.
Yeah. But if the whole thing started glowing, then it would be well on its way to melting.
Which would be annoying. You could melt copper with a propane torch.
If you work at it, I mean, if you left it on there for quite a while, yeah, you probably could.
Really, the propane would get hot enough, huh?
Yeah. Well, or in other words, or hot enough to severely embrittle it. I mean, and just ruin it. You know, yeah.
If it gets, you don't want to get it too hard, because then you won't be able to force it in and out of the opening.
That's right.
There you go.
But and I think he also mentioned how do we bend tubing?
No.
Okay. It was somebody else.
How do you bend tubing, John?
Well, you get a spring support sleeve.
A tubing bender is what they call it. It's a coil spring. You slip it over the tubing for whatever size you're using, and then you bend it with that, and it gives it kind of support all around it. The other thing you do is pack that tubing full of like sand, and then when you bend it, that does it as well. You're giving it support either on the outside or the inside to make your bend.
Yeah. But the tubing benders work quite well. You can get those at Home Depot.
Well,
in multiple sizes.
You can if they actually have any clue as to where they are. I went to a Home Depot. True story. We were installing the brew plant. I'm like, all right, we needed tubing benders. I'm like, all right, well, Home Depot says they got them on their website. I go down to the Home Depot. I'm like, where's your tubing benders? What? Tubing bender. No, we don't have anything like that. Like, they're like, what do you want to do? I want to bend some tubing. Like, no such thing. I'm like, your website says you have this in stock, 6 of them. Where would I look for plumbing supplies? Yeah, we don't have anything like that. You're not going to find that here. Where are your plumbing supplies? Yeah, we don't have it, so, not even worth looking. Just point me towards your plumbing tools.
Sir, please leave.
They're just like, we're not going to have it. I'm just like, idiots. I'm like, I go find the plumbing tools. Sure enough, there they are hanging there, tubing benders. I'm just like, want to ram it up the guy's ass when I find him again. I'm just like, look, this is what I'm talking about, you idiots.
Do you think he'd be screaming, we don't have those, as you were doing it?
As I'm ramming up his ass? Yeah. Maybe. Who knows? Oh, my God. The glory that is Home Depot. I mean, there's some fine people there. Boy, there are some idiots there. Yeah. I just don't understand customer service.
Some days I feel like I'm telling them, it's like, okay, go find me an old guy, or on the other hand, go find me a young guy, Right. That's what I'm talking about.
I just go in and say, just leave me alone. Can I help you? No, absolutely not. I know more about this store than you do.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Robert writes, gentlemen, he's written into the wrong show.
Yeah.
I am crafting a hop strainer for my brew kettle out of stainless steel mesh. The strainer is a 5-inch diameter cylinder with a mesh bottom. We all like mesh bottoms, don't we? And he put that in, not me. And a stainless steel collar. Pardon me. The original thought was to sew the bottom on with stainless steel or copper wire, but that has proved too tedious. John, you mentioned in How to Brew that silver solder is used in 90% of mechanical fasteners in the home brewery. My questions are then, what are your thoughts on silver soldering the mesh together? Would it work? Would it be okay to have in the brew kettle, or would it be too much exposure? Thanks again in advance, and thanks for what you guys do.
Okay, well, a couple issues here. I think you're going to have trouble getting sufficient flux on there to get it to braise well, or to solder on the stainless steel to the stainless steel hoop.
That seemed much more difficult than sewing it on.
Yeah, actually, to me too.
Yeah.
But, okay, assuming that you do get it soldered on there, at least a couple key points so it doesn't fall off, then the silver tin solder, that's plumbing solder, it's galvanically it's fairly passive with regard to stainless steel. You're not going to get lots of tin coming off. Even if you did get lots of tin coming off the solder, the most you'd experience is really haze issues.
Well, it's such a minuscule amount. If you're talking mesh, I mean, I can't imagine you're going to get a lot of solder to stick to, a fine mesh.
Right. And you're just pouring the wort, straining the hops past it. It's, I mean, the corrosion in metal, metal in the wort is not really an issue here. Maybe you solder it in like 3, 4, 5 spots around the rim, and that'll be good to hold it on. But I would have thought, the wire would have worked.
Yeah, sewing it on with wire. I mean, just cut yourself, couple inch long pieces, pass it through the hole, twist it.
Yeah, you don't have
to
clip
it off.
Loop, couple spots.
Put a piece through, twist it, clip it off. Just do that in 20 parts, 20 spots, and I guarantee you that should do it.
Yep.
Can't imagine, and you could probably do every single hole in less than an hour. So there you go.
Very true.
You'd probably waste a little bit of wire doing it that way versus trying to stitch it on, but it would be a lot faster. Should work well. All right, let's take a short break, and when we come back, we got a question from Lou about metals, and there's even a bonus question. So you get the bonus round here, John. Back after this.
When you hear Blickman Engineering, think innovation, passion, quality, and customer service. Blickman gear is designed by brewers to give you a sense of pride in your equipment. At Blickman, they know what makes brewing a pain and build gear that makes it fun. Like the intuitive beer gun, a completely different approach to filling bottles. The Therminator Wort Chiller, a new take on a plate chiller that's sized for flow, performance, and the high groundwater temps homebrewers face every day. The Brewmometer, a brilliant weldless thermometer design with brewing parameters right on the dial. The Autosparge, ultimate simplicity for preventing an overflow or running your mash tun dry. And much more, like the modular top-tier brewing stand, conical fermenters, and their Boilermaker brew pots. With more cutting-edge equipment coming soon, keep up with the latest from Blickman at blickmanengineering.com and stay on the cutting edge. Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
Hey, my brewing brothers and sisters, this is Jamil and I love a bold, hoppy beer, one that spits resin in your face and makes you cry uncle. There are a lot of great hoppy beers out there, but at Heretic, we want to make something as bold, dank, and resiny as possible. We use hops at every chance we get, including multiple dry hop additions. The result is Heretic Evil Cousin. This light golden, 8% Imperial IPA has an easy malt character that helps take the edge off the massive bittering, but it takes a back seat to the in-your-face hop character. We make sure this beer finishes dry so the hops can jump out and slam you in the taste buds. If you can't get enough hoppy goodness, Evil Cousin is your cup of tea. Cheers.
That's it. I've had had it. I am never putting hops in my beer again.
What? Why?
It's just too ridiculous. Insane prices, stupid contracts, high shipping costs, crappy selection.
Dude, you need Nico Brew.
Nico Brew will rock your f***ing face right the f*** off your f***ing skull. $5 shipping to all 50 states. Plus fantastic international rates get you low prices on Nico Brew's great selection of hops and more. Whether you're a home brewer, a pro brewer, or a homebrew shop owner, Nico Brew can get you the hops you need in increments big and small. Single orders, spot buys, or full contracts. And there's only one place to join the uber special secret elite bare bones club where you'll get the best deals anywhere.
Holy f***ing shit.
NicoBrew.com. NIKOBREW. Nico Brew, your bare bones buddy in the brewing business.
What does craft beer mean to you? Is it a delicious way to support your town's local brewer? Or perhaps it's the perfect beverage to pair with those delicious meals at your favorite restaurant and at home. Regardless of whether you're thinking of pints or pairings, pilsners or porters, craftbeer.com is the site where craft beer lovers come together to learn and share. Craftbeer.com is brought to you by the Brewers Association and celebrates the best of American craft beer and its brewers. Craftbeer.com is the best place to find craft beer events, recipes, great feature stories, the most up-to-date brewery listings, and resources for your next beer tasting or dinner, like style guidelines, pairing mats, and charts. Get the inside scoop on new beer releases and special events from today's craft beer insiders, and chime in to share your own knowledge, perfect pairings, road trips, recipes, and more. Craftbeer.com, celebrating the best of American beer.
Hi, I'm Jason Harris, the proud owner here at Keystone Homebrew Supply. We're thrilled to be entering our 20th year of supplying this great industry, and to show you, the Brewing Network Army, how much we appreciate your support, we're offering you 10% off your first order on our website, KeystoneHomebrew.com. Just use coupon code BNARMY at checkout, and I'll get your order out the same day. My goal at Keystone Homebrew Supply has always been to have a complete supply of everything a brewer could want. When you place your order online or when you come into our store, it's our goal to have everything on your list and more. One aspect of KeystoneHomebrew.com that we're really excited about is the ability to fulfill customers' exact grain bills. Do you hate to wait? Keystone Homebrew Supply can get your precious yeast and hops to you within just one day if you live between Connecticut and Virginia, and within 2 days east of the Mississippi. KeystoneHomebrew.com. Coupon code BNARMY. I'm Jason Harris, and I approve this message.
Back to the two guys that know how to turn beer into beer. This is Brew Strong.
All right, we're back. We got a question from Lou. John?
Lou, how you doing?
Lou says, I got a metal question for John. Of course. If it's about metal, I just pass it on to John. Is the lead-free solder I've used on the copper fittings within my boil kettle safe? I am using copper for my Whirlpool recirculation lines. We're going to say yes. Yeah, so say yes.
Yes, it is.
There you go. Another detailed answer from John.
That's why it's sold as plumbing solder.
Right, because it's safe, even though it's in an acidic environment.
Yeah.
Yes. And there will be some erosion, or
with continuous use, there will be some erosion / corrosion, but small amounts. I mean, the silver tin solder in this time, but even in a wort environment, is pretty resistant. I mean, corrosion rates are very low.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now here's your bonus question for extra points. Lou has listened to your metal episode. He says, do I have big worries on corrosion with a copper fitting threaded into stainless? Or will this just eventually cause some minor corrosion I don't have to worry about?
B. Minor corrosion.
Minor corrosion, don't have to worry about. Yeah, I mean, it may rot the fitting a bit, but if it doesn't leak and you don't have to take it apart, big deal, right?
Yeah. I mean, the nice thing about copper is it tends to polarize in conjunction with other metals, so that, in other words, over time, the galvanic difference between the two metals will diminish, and it will down. Its corrosion rate will actually drop. Now, if you change the environment repeatedly, then that kind of ruins this passivity that builds up. So, for example, if you were in a commercial brewery setting and having a copper to stainless joint like this, where it was exposed to, daily CIP, cleaning in place practices with, first caustic, then acid, then various regimens, then you would tend to get more corrosion because you're constantly changing the surface chemistry of the two metals, different electrolytes, so it doesn't really give it a chance to passivate. And that's why they don't recommend brass, copper fittings or aluminum to boot in modern breweries, and they say use all stainless, because that way you reduce the number of variables you got to deal with your clean in place systems.
Oh, and he was the one who asked about any tips on bending copper. He says, I don't see any kinks in the smoothly bent Whirlpool lines on MrMalty.com. Of course you don't. Come on. Oh, my God. I got that from More Beer, so there you go. Or some of the lines I did myself. Tubing bender, that's the trick. Tubing bender. All right, Dan, Danny asks, he wants to do electric induction brewing. He says, I have a Blickman, actually 2 pots, that I want to use with induction heating. It seems easier to put the pot on an induction burner rather than drilling it and adding electric elements. Plus, I can still use it for mashing and boiling. Looking into this idea, the first thing I noticed is that the pot is not induction compatible, as it doesn't attract magnets. So I figured out 2 ways to convert it without drilling it. The first option, which is not recommended by induction manufacturers, is to put a metal sheet on the induction heater and the pot on the metal sheet. The second option, and this is where I wanted and needed your input, is to put inside the bottom on the pot small metal discs that are magnetic, maybe something like 10 metal washers, about 1 inch in diameter, spread across the bottom. My questions are, is it safe to use iron discs in the boil? Should I use only stainless discs, assuming I can find some that are magnetic? Does 10 discs sound enough metal for a 3 kilowatt induction element? Should I go another route altogether and use something more like a metal sheet with big holes instead of 1 inch discs? Thanks in advance, Danny.
Okay, well, stainless steel pots do work on induction stovetops. So you can...
Isn't it a thicker layer that they put on, or don't they usually bind copper or something to the bottoms of those or something?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. But it'll still work well enough that I don't think you need to try to put... you don't want to try to put washers inside the pot, and even they would need to be non-reactive 304 type stuff. Well,
and how does induction heating work, John? Why don't you briefly tell us about that?
Induction heating works by having an oscillating electric field where changes from, it's like alternating current. In this alternating current, it creates magnetic resistance in the metal, and that resistance creates friction in between the atoms, which creates heat. So, yeah, more magnetic substances work better for induction heating, but you can still, we use induction brazing all the time in aerospace. You put, a stainless steel tube inside an induction coil, and use that to heat it up and braise a joint that way.
Yeah, blaze a joint. It sounds like something tasty would be doing. No, braise a joint.
Braise, yes.
Not blaze. But does the amount of metal present have a big factor on induction heating?
It can. The what do you call it? The magnetic permeability of the material is a factor of how well it heats up. The thickness of the material is a factor on how well it heats up, or how much resistance there is to that changing field. So I would think that if he's trying to actually improve the induction, then a piece of plain steel beneath the pot would help him. Copper wouldn't help. Aluminum wouldn't help. It's because it's too permeable. Beneath the pot rather than in the pot is the way to go.
Okay. Well, there you go. There's your answer.
But just the fact that, he's saying, my stainless steel isn't magnetic. Well, there's still enough iron in there and that it will respond to the induction. Maybe not as much as plain carbon steel, but it'll still respond.
Okay. Very good. All right. Let's do this. Let's take another short break. When we come back, we will have more of your questions after this.
Tin, Getting tired of that same old handcrafted beverages day after day? Are you looking for something with more diversity than your normal beer? Fellow BN Army member Michael Fairbrother, owner of Moonlight Meadery, is reviving an entire beverage category, mead!
The meads at Moonlight Meadery are all handcrafted from the finest honey on the market and are perfect for any occasion, like weddings, baby showers, or...
Excuse me? Mead is not your average girly drink, mister, and Moonlight Meads can be enjoyed anytime, anywhere. Football games with the guys.
Yeah.
Barbecues with the guys.
Yeah.
Operating power tools with the guys.
Yeah. Actually, sir, that's really dangerous.
Good point, son.
Next time you have something to celebrate or are just looking for a new tasting experience, pick up a bottle of mead from Moonlight Meadery. Now in 21 states, making over 60 varieties of mead from dry, semi-sweet to sweet.
Break out of that craft beer lull. Grab a bottle of Moonlight Mead. Can't find some? Then ask. No, make that demand some.
Yeah!
What'd you get? More brewing ingredients?
Yep. You know what I love about Brewmaster's Warehouse?
The $6.99 shipping?
Well, yeah, but...
Oh, the in-store classes for beginning brewers.
Yeah, that's cool, but...
Oh, the Brew Builder. Creating and saving your recipes online is awesome!
No, yes, but...
The cheese-making supplies.
No.
Oh, the wine-making supplies. Oh, the distilling equipment and liquor flavorings.
All that stuff is awesome, yes, but what I really love is that the guy who runs it is totally hot. And that Brew Builder software is awesome.
Oh, yeah. Brewmaster's Warehouse brings you flat rate shipping on great equipment and ingredients to make beer, wine, cheese, and spirits at brewmasterswarehouse.com. And if you're in Georgia, stop by Brewmaster's Warehouse Monday through Saturday from 10 to 6. Visit brewmasterswarehouse.com today.
Because it's totally hot.
Oh, yeah.
A vial of White Labs yeast is the key to your best beer. When you open a vial of White Labs yeast, you're giving your beer its best chance for a perfect fermentation. In addition to their already incredible variety of yeast, White Labs is proud to announce WLP 90, San Diego's super yeast, now available year-round. WLP 90 is super clean, super fast fermenting, with low esters and has a neutral flavor and aroma profile. It's alcohol tolerant and highly flocculent. For more of the latest White Labs news, click over to whitelabs.com, where you can read reviews of yeast, learn in the lab section, and join the customer club. And if you should find yourself in San Diego, White Labs has a brand new training facility for craft brewers and home brewers alike. Whitelabs.com. Discover yeast, nutrients, enzymes, and more for commercial breweries, home brewers, and homebrew stores. White Labs. It's all in the vial.
Hi, I'm Jamil Zainasheff, and in addition to my work on the Brewing Network, I write the Style Profile column in every issue of Brew Your Own magazine.
Hi, I'm Sean Paxton, and when I'm not prepping for the Homebrewed Chef on the Brewing Network, you can find me writing articles on how to cook with your homebrew for Brew Your Own magazine.
Greetings, cretins. This is John Palmer, and when I'm not writing for Brew Your Own, I'm reading it.
John Palmer, Sean Paxton, Jamil Zainasheff. If you love listening to them on the Brewing Network, you'll love reading their articles, tips, and recipes in the pages of Brew Your Own magazine. Join Jamil, John, and Sean 8 times a year in Brew Your Own. And when you subscribe to BYO on the Brewing Network website, half of your subscription price goes right back to the BN to support great beer and food programming. So sign up for Brew Your Own magazine through the BN website today so you can listen and read your way to better homebrew. A few things happened 30 years ago.
ARPANET migrated to TCP/IP, and the Internet was born. Revenge of the Jedi was renamed Return of the Jedi and opened in theaters. Mila Kunis and Emily Blunt were born, beginning a rad fantasy in my mind.
But all of that pales next to the fact that HopTech opened its doors and began blowing homebrewers right out of their mash tuns. HopTech doesn't fuck around. Real people shipping awesome shit straight to you. Their new website is fast and easy to navigate. Or just call 800-379-4677 and let badass bitch Jade and Brewin' brother Roberto blow their warm load of customer service all over you. So visit the site or visit the store in Dublin, California, and support those that support you. Get your brewing on at hoptech.com.
Back to your hosts, Jamil Zainasheff and John Palmer. Putting the testicles in technical. This is Brew Strong.
Speaking of testicles.
Yes. Our fine sponsor, Blickman?
Yeah. That guy's got some testicles.
Yep. He does.
Well, and if you want to, take care of your testicles, yeah, maybe
way to rescue that segue there.
Yeah,
Jamil.
maybe Lance Armstrong would have had less testicle problems had he visited AdamandEve.com.
Right.
For a limited time only, you go to AdamandEve.com. They got thousands and thousands of great products, adult-oriented products, and if you use the offer code Jamil, Jamil, at AdamandEve.com, you're going to get your first item at 50% off. So you go and you buy something half price, and what they're going to give you is 3 free adult DVDs. You get DVDs of your choosing. It can be anal, Asian, amateur, MILFs, big butts.
Well, can you get sports videos instead?
Water sports. If you want water sports, they have that too.
I think he means like the Rams 1981 season in review, like just sports videos.
You can get some Rams. Yeah, oh yeah. you see Rams, you see water sports, you see all sorts of goodies in those DVDs, and of your choosing. They're not going to send you some crap from the bottom of the bin. You choose what genres you like
Lakers or something.
And then you get a free. You're making this difficult, John. Don't make me laugh.
He's making it hard.
You're making it hard, John. You're making it very hard. You get free extra gifts, so essential I can't mention it, and free shipping. So let me recap. Offer code Jamil, Jamil. You get buy one item at half price, and they got good pricing, lots of items. Then you get the 3 free DVDs, you get the free extra gift, and free shipping. You get a whole bunch of free crap just for buying one thing at half price. So check it out, AdamandEve.com. They even have a mobile site. Go there with your smartphone and shop away for your testicle health today. All right, I got a question, and we get a lot of these questions. People worried about lead poisoning and rotting their brains. I don't know why.
Yeah, smoking will do it to you worse than that.
There you go. Maybe this is what happened to Tasty. I don't know. Edward writes, I have a question that I haven't been able to find online or in John's book. Last night I was bottling up a Hefeweizen, and I had a tub of Star Sand for sanitizing bottles and hoses. While I was siphoning into the bottling bucket, I felt left the brass hose connector from the spigot soaking in the star sand for about 10 to 15 minutes. After I removed it from the star sand, it was a bright copper color, like a shiny new penny. I then reassembled the bottling bucket spigot and proceeded to bottle, giving every bottle a quick star sand rinse immediately before filling. When I was done, I noticed the star sand had a slight metallic odor, and when cleaning up, I noticed that the brass hose connector had the same odor, but much stronger, as did my hands after touching it. Did I leach lead or some other toxic compound into the star sand? Did I then contaminate every bottle with the final rinse before bottling? I remember on Brew Strong Metal Show something about yeast precipitating out metals, but this is a Hefeweizen and we will be drinking the yeast. Should this be something I concern myself with and dump the batch, or am I overreacting?
You're overreacting. Let me address the different points. So he put the one brass fitting into the star sand and it came out nice and bright. Okay, fine. There is now some small percentage of that fitting, in solution in the star sand. So in other words, some copper ions, some zinc ions, maybe some lead ions.
Unless it's a lead-free brass.
Right, unless it's lead-free brass, which many brasses in the United States are today, and in Europe too. They've had lead-free laws or ordinances in place, I think, for about 5 years now.
From his spelling of color, I got to think he is in Great Britain somewhere. Yes.
Okay. Or Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyway, I mean, lead-free brass is becoming more and more common. But even if it wasn't, you're dealing with 3% lead maximum. So 3% of the weight of that fitting is lead, distributed homogeneously throughout the entire fitting. So, therefore, only 3% of the surface area is actually lead, or less. I mean, because this is by weight and not by size or volume. But anyhow, it's a very small bit of lead that would be exposed at the surface, and you haven't dissolved the entire fitting, so only one couple atom layers deep potentially. In other words, the amount of lead is minuscule that could have gotten in. The copper and zinc, copper potentially toxic, and if it's enough, but anyway, small likelihood. Now, second part of the question, he said he rinsed his bottles in that same solution. Well, these ions are not going to plate onto a non-conductor, so they're not going to attach themselves to glass. If you stuck an iron nail in there, yeah, they would plate onto the nail, but we're not. That's beside the point. So he did not. He's not exposing himself to he didn't contaminate his bottles, and
whatever might be in the remaining liquid solution there, even then, that's a minuscule amount. And
so you've got a little bit left in the star sand, a little bit of carryover from the star sand to the batch, or in this case, the bottles. Just not enough to even worry about. I doubt it could be detected even.
Well, and even so, if there was a tiny amount of lead in there, the adult human in reasonable health eating a proper diet, it passes through eventually. It's chronic exposure to substantial levels is what eventually rots your brain and does you in.
I mean, back when lead wasn't controlled, in brass, they would tell you to not to let the water run out of the faucet, so you didn't drink that first cupful every morning, or the same with beer taps, because you get a higher concentration.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, it's something where as you say, it would be a chronic accumulation where you're drinking that same concentration every single day, over a period of months or years to have any real effect. So in the case of acute poisoning, you would have to ingest a whole lot more yes, there's really no danger to them in this case.
There you go. Well, and keeping with that theme, as I said, everyone's worried about their health.
Yeah.
If you're worried about your health, don't overconsume alcohol. Don't smoke. Go out, get some exercise. Get off the couch. Things like that, and you probably do a lot better. Kevin, he's worried about caustic brass in his health. Says, I have a Braumeister 50-liter. Given it's a stainless unit, I decided to use caustic soda for a 1 in 10 sparkling clean, forgetting that the pump housings under the unit are brass. Result is some pretty nasty-looking pump housings. Spidell advised me it won't affect the unit's operation, but I am not sure about the health or flavor effects of this problem. It's not even clear to me if this is something on the brass or stripped off of it. There doesn't seem to be much accessible information online about what caustic actually does to brass. Then I got thinking, I do know a brewing metallurgist over in the States. Maybe he'll have some advice. This is Kev from Canberra, Australia.
Yeah, very, very similar situation, really. He had posted pictures online, and I was able to take a look at those today before the show. What he's seeing is dark patches on the brass, dark discoloration due to zinc oxides, copper oxides caused by the caustic. And caustic being sodium hydroxide, so the hydroxide oxidizes the surface and leaves this black residue, some discoloration. The fitting was not all black; it was just kind of speckled, spotted, just slight discoloration all around. Not a lot of corrosion evident. Some small pits evident, but nothing to really worry about. This can be cleaned up with a scrubby and maybe some kitchen cleanser to just brighten it up all over, remove the discoloration. If you didn't do that and you just brewed with that fitting as is, the wort would pull off those oxides, just like when you stick your copper wort chiller in the wort, or as the previous guy described, fitting came out nice and bright. These oxides are more soluble in the acidic wort than the base metal itself. So you would get a higher concentration from that. But again, the amounts we're talking about are really small and not a health hazard.
All right. There's your answer there. Let's take a short break, our final one, and when we come back, we'll wrap up this show with maybe another question or two after this.
Williams Brewing is your online resource for prompt delivery of quality home brewing supplies. Since 1979, Williams Brewing has offered the finest equipment and the freshest ingredients, backed by the best customer service in the business. New items include the Big Oxygen Kit for economical wort aeration using common welding oxygen tanks, and the Unistat line of external thermostats for easy control of both electric heaters and refrigerators. In addition, they've just mashed their new oatmeal stout malt extract, so you can make those tasty winter oatmeal stouts and porters without mashing. Go to williamsbrewing.com today and browse their vast selection. That's williamsbrewing.com. Orders placed by 4 p.m. Pacific Time weekdays ship the same day. Brewing is easy, the Williams way.
Tonight is the night.
We bring the creature to life, Dr. Blickmanstein?
Yes, J.P. Gore. Everything is perfect for my next fermented creation.
My doctor, the storm is too far away. We'll never have enough power to isomerize the creature's alpha acid.
Yes, J.P. Gore, we will. For I have in my possession the Tower of Power.
Blickman's new Tower of Power is the evolution of automation. Control hot liquor, sparge, and mash temps like a pro. The Tower of Power is a high-quality gas-fired rim system that works with your current brewing setup. With ultra-precision, the tower can hold your mash to 1/2 of a degree Fahrenheit. Precision and repeatability. The Tower of Power is the answer to automatic, fast ramp times. See more at BlickmanEngineering.com. Bring your next creation to life with the Tower of Power.
Dr. Blickman's son, with the Tower of Power, you can probably give me an afternoon at the pub to enjoy a pint.
Don't be silly, J.P. Gore. We have beer to brew.
When I order a beer, I want my server to know more about it than I do. I want someone who enjoys good beer and loves helping others enjoy it too. I want someone who knows how to pour a perfect pint for any beer style. I want a Cicerone. The Cicerone certification program is creating the type of people who help you enjoy great beer. Home brewers and craft beer lovers know beer is more flavorful and complex than ever, and it takes some serious knowledge to store and serve beer right. Cicerones know beer. There are 3 levels in the Cicerone program: Certified Beer Server, Certified Cicerone, and Master Cicerone. Cicerones are truly the sommeliers of beer. The best beer locations have a certified Cicerone on staff. Relaxed and unpretentious, Cicerones are tested on storing and serving beer, beer styles, flavor and tasting, the brewing process and ingredients, and pairing food with beer. Learn more about your next beer guide at cicerone.org. Certified Cicerone, because it takes top talent to present a perfect pint.
All right, BN Army, it's trivia time. What's the only homebrew shop with over 1,000 recipe kits, $4.99 shipping on orders over $100, and is also home of the Wolf shirt? The one and only answer is Austin Homebrew Supply. For over 20 years, they've specialized in creating recipes such as the best-selling Texas Blonde Ale, Apocalypso, Hop Bomb 2.0, and Double Chocolate Stout. And they just recently unveiled their small grain kits that produce 1 gallon of beer. Visit AustinHomebrew.com to browse their extensive catalog of equipment and ingredients. They also have mini clone recipes of your favorite commercial beers. They're the exclusive retailer of BrewVent yeast fuel as well, yeast nutrient, and the all-new Bodybuilder. Follow Austin Homebrew Supply on Google Plus to participate in video hangouts on popular brewing topics. So visit AustinHomebrew.com today and make sure you sign up for their weekly email with news and specials. Austin Homebrew Supply, AustinHomebrew.com. One of the last things many brewers try to master is the ingredient that makes up most of their beer, water. Brewers Publications is pleased to announce Water, a comprehensive guide for brewers of all levels by How to Brew author John Palmer and professional brewer Colin Kaminsky.
Hi, I'm John Palmer. This book is the result of many years of asking the tough questions about water to professional brewers and brewing scientists, and we are very pleased with how it turned out. It's the first book that is solely about water treatment throughout the brewing process. The book is intended for all brewers, from homebrewers to professionals, and we hope you like it.
From how to read a water report to treating your wastewater and everything in between, Water is the comprehensive guide you've always wanted on brewing's least understood ingredient. Flavor contributions, water chemistry, and adjusting water to styles of beer. John and Colin will teach you everything you need to know. Water is available from brewerspublications.com and fine brewing booksellers near you. Take the mystery out of your brewing water. Visit brewerspublications.com for your copy of Water today.
Hey, dude, you know what beer this is?
No, all the labels are falling off.
Yeah, or the ink is run.
Well, if it's the pale ale, you're good, but stay away from the quote-unquote Belgian.
Oh, man, this guy needs to get some grog tags.
Grog tags are reusable, write-on, wipe-off, commercial-grade bottle labels for your brew. The guys at Grog Tag are homebrewers. They wanted great-looking, sturdy labels for your bottles, buckets, carboys, kegs, and growlers. They also wanted a label that not only looks good, but can be easily removed and reapplied during bottling without that nasty glue residue being left behind. No residue, water-resistant, and ice chest approved. Grog tags stay on in water or an ice chest, and they stay legible. Visit grogtag.com to customize your label or coaster from dozens of different templates for free and see how awesome your bottles can look.
It's that pseudo-Belgian.
Yeah, we're getting him some grog tags, dude.
Grog Tag. At least your beer will look good. grogtag.com.
Back to the beer guys that make other beer guys look like wine guys. Brew Strong.
All right, we're back. We're enjoying having John back from the wild lands of Austin.
Austin, Texas. Tejas, as they might call it.
Tejas. Yes. And also speaking of hot, how about that AHA?
Yes.
All 50 states, legal. They got some good-looking people working for them, like...
They do.
Gary Glass. Is an attractive bald man.
You sure you didn't just see somebody in the reflection of his head?
Yeah, that might have been. It might have been his lovely wife. It might have been Charlie Papazian, who gets me chubby. Yeah, could have been one of them. Could have been one of them. But I'll tell you, Gary's quite nice. So there you go.
Our good friends at the AHA.
Right. And I'll tell you what. You should be supporting. I support them. John supports them. We all support them. You should be supporting them, too. The AHA does a lot for the homebrewing hobby, the people, all your compatriots that are interested in homebrewing. They're out there fighting the good fight when strange legislation comes up that threatens your ability to homebrew and to leave your house or share a beer with a friend. They're watching out for that stuff, and so it's really important work. Plus, they got the Zymergy subscription. They've got a lot of events, things like that. We're going to be doing an AHA rally at Heretic. I don't know if you know. And I think John's going to be there, aren't you, John?
Yes. When is that going to be again?
I think we're shooting for April 26th. It's going to be a big one. We're going to do it down at Heretic. I'm going to invite all sorts of people down. We're going to have a big old party. And if you're the only way you can participate is if you're an AHA member. So there. So if you get a chance, sign up for the AHA. You won't regret it. All right. Time for one more question?
Yep. I got time.
I'm glad you're sticking around, John. Mark
Well, I was going to get another beer, but then I thought, well, wait. Hopefully I'll get through this question first.
Okay. Mark from Drexel Hill writes, I'm a new home brewer with high aspirations.
Oh, no. Wait, keep going.
I think Tasty had high aspirations when he started homebrewing. One day I plan to open my own brew pub. Until that day, though, I have a lot to learn. One question I keep coming back to is how can I insulate my brew pot and mash tun for quicker boils and easier sustained temperatures? I had read a small blurb online about ceramic insulating paints and was wondering if you guys had any experience with this. Does it work? Effects on stainless steel aluminum? If I painted an igloo cooler, would that be even more insulation for winter brewing? Anyway, love the shows. Listen, long time.
The wonders of materials science. That's why I got into the field in the first place. But no, I have not used those ceramic insulating paints. So I can't say how effective or ineffective they would be on a brew pot or a cooler. I would imagine they would not be terribly effective on a brew pot. And I doubt that. I have a feeling they would be very ineffective on a cooler. The plastic is and the insulation in the cooler is probably much more of a heat barrier or insulation than the ceramic paint, given the thickness. The best way, I have tried to insulate stainless steel tons for mashing, and the best way I found was bubble wrap. Get like aluminized bubble wrap and wrap that a couple times around, to create like a 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch thick layer on the outside, and that helped retain mash heat pretty well. But you did have the problem of the bottom of the blanket, getting too hot, during direct firing and melting a bit. But other than that, it worked.
And I'm sure it was far cheaper, too.
Yes, yeah.
There you go.
And it could be replaced easily.
Right. Yeah, I think that sometimes people worry a little bit too much about something like that. Simple is best a lot of times, and I think that's the route to take on this. All right, another fine show, John. I think
Thank you.
You did quite well. I think I give you. I think your accuracy on your question answers was, 100%.
Okay. Appreciate your clarity of diction in reciting them as well.
There you go. I'm here for you, buddy. I'm here for you. Unlike you were the last couple of weeks. Yeah. I happen to be here. All right.
But Austin was worth it. So.
Yes. And I'm glad you got a chance to do that. I'm glad the people of Austin got to meet you and take part in your brilliance. So if you folks like to take part in this brilliance, keep supporting our sponsors like BlickmanEngineering.com. These guys innovating your homebrew day. Check out the Brewing Network store. Lots of goodies in there that you can buy and goes to the bottom line of the Brewing Network. And support the AHA as well. All right. Till later then, brew strong, everybody.
Brew strong.